This is FAB Variant. It is by far the best lock ever manufactured by FAB. In 1997, FAB became part of the Assa Abloy concern and they used their patents for it, which explains Variant's similarity to Assa locks. It was manufactured from the year 2000 and it was available in many variants, the usual double and half euro cylinders, mortise cylinder, and even as a snowman in the Assa Ruko 2 padlock. There were also different modifications of the lock itself. For example, there are versions with only 6 pins and no sidebar. There were even some with a nuta, the first generation of the anti-bumping protection. Unfortunately, the variant didn't get much traction. The price was high and there were problems with some security fittings because of the core extension out of the Bible. Also, to support it was not all that easy for locksmiths. Keys had to be cut on an expensive CNC machine, key blanks were very strictly guarded, and each cut key had to be measured and all deviations had to be logged. The result was that the lock was discontinued, and now it also is one of the rarest FAB locks. The basic configuration is a 6 standard key pins coupled with 6 assa barrels. Core chambers in locks I encountered are overmilled, and they do catch lip of the barrel quite effectively. It's worth noting that picking the pin tumbler part of the version without a sidebar is actually harder. The sidebar springs provide a counter rotation when you loosen a tension, which helps to get pins out of the overmilling. Tolerances of these locks are very good. The first part of picking feels like the pins are tapered. Just nudge them carefully until one of them sets. Then you try to get the barrels into the overmilling and then finish with getting them out of the overmilling to the shear line. The secondary locking mechanism consists of a sidebar controlled by 5 finger pins that not only need to be lifted but also rotated into one of the 3 directions. These finger pins are set by the secondary bitting on the key. Finger pins are serrated and these serrations interact with the sidebar cuts to make setting the rotation under tension harder. Also, the finger pins behave much like tapered pins. Several nudges might be necessary to fully set a pin. Unlike Zeiss Icon SK6 Extra code, I didn't have much luck setting a finger pin that is not rotated correctly. If a finger pin is ping-ponging, it's probably not rotated correctly. In this particular lock, the finger pins isolated nicely from the key pins, but this is not a rule. Anyway, enough of theory. Let's put this magnificent lock into the vise and see it in action. This is FAB Variant. It's absolutely the best lock that FAB has ever produced. As you can see, very nice bitting, secondary sidebar bitting with finger pins that not only needs to be pushed but also rotated correctly for the sidebar to let the core move. Also great tolerances, very nice lock, and it's a shame that it's not being produced anymore. So let's see if we can pick it. As I mentioned, the lock has great tolerances, so the first part of the pick consists of just nudging the pins until we get a full set. Number 6 gave very nice click. Other pins are starting to bind too. Small click and small core movement from 6. Okay, set 4, 5, and let's see what the 6 does. Okay, a little click out of it. So set 2, set 3, 4 seems okay, 5 seems okay, click out of 6, let's check again, got 2 and 3 from overmilling, I guess. Okay, nice click out of 6 and bit of a core movement, so let's check the finger pins. Rotated 1, rotated 2, now let's start nudging them. These finger pins, they behave quite like tapered pins. So it's really most of the time gentle nudging of the pin. So how are we doing? Nice click from finger pin 3. Hopefully we are getting closer. So let's see. Seem to be able to rotate finger pin number 4 to position. So is he going to cooperate or not? Click out of number 3, but I don't know if it was a good click or bad click. So yes, and we are picked. Yay. So as you can see, moves freely. Now let's see this beauty from inside. As you can see, these holes are good when learning the finger pins, but I covered them to minimize the temptation to look. So this form of lock is also very good for disassembly and reassembly. Helps quite a lot. So now don't mess it up, because these finger pin holes might cause trouble when, or if the driver would enter there. So let's make sure that does not happen. These are here, drivers are here, so we should be safe. And also don't drop any pins, and catch the sidebar in time to save the springs from jumping away. Okay. So here's the sidebar. We'll take a closer look at it in a couple of moments. Now for those tiny little sidebar springs, if I can recommend something, never put any spring into this area of the pinning mat, otherwise you risk it jumping away when you try to take it from there. So pin number 1 was mastered. There's all the pins are standards with no modifications. Okay. Not sure how visible is it going to be, but there is a tiny overmilling of the core, which doesn't look like much, but it catches the pins very effectively. Now let's take out those finger pins. Don't lose any of those finger pin springs. Okay, so 3 of them don't want to cooperate peacefully, so let's drag them out. Okay. And the last one. So here you can see the anti-drill protection that's taking care of those finger pins. Also another anti-drill protection that's protecting the sidebar. Here another. Now let's take a peek. So all the 6 pins are assa barrels. Which combined with that overmilling is very effective. Spin number 4 was again mastered. So these barrels are quite nasty. Picking them is not a very nice affair. So I did say not to put any springs in here, right? Okay, these are 3, 4, 5. Okay. The springs are all the same. In the core you can see the sidebar groove in here and the anti-drill protection guarding the pin stack. Are then that there's not much else to see in here. As for the sidebar, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. There are quite interesting small ridges in there, which I'm not sure what they are supposed to do, but the thing is that the serrations on the pins are catching on this sidebar quite good, so it's not always easy to rotate the pin correctly. And also only the pins that are currently binding are able to, let's say, hold the rotation when you are trying to set it. So for example, in this lock, pins number 1, 2 and 3 can be set, or 1 and 2 needs setting, the 3 is just in the middle. And if you try to set pin 4 and 5, it would just jump back. Now let's take a peek at those finger pins. Not sure how well you can see those serrations, but as I said, they are quite effective, preventing the rotation. And there's the gate, so you can see, to have it aligned in here, the pin has to be rotated in this direction. And what's quite different to, say, the size icon, it really doesn't tell you much when the pin is set or whether the rotation is correct. The size icon there, at least the one that I have, its feedback is very clear. When you set the pin and it becomes stiff and it doesn't want to jiggle, then you know the rotation is not correct and you have to rotate it. So this lock is quite different. The feedback is very, very subtle until you get a click and you know that hopefully the pin is set, or a couple of pins. The binding order for the finger pins is something 1, 2, 3. These 3 tend to bind together, and only when these 3 are set, then the pin 4 can be rotated and set, and then the pin 5, and it opens. So this behavior is quite different from the size icon, and I have a assa twin combi in the mail, and I'm quite curious to see how it behaves. So let's arrange everything for the close-up. I wonder how to arrange these finger pins so it can be seen that really none of them is mastered in rotation or height. Okay, so let's do a close-up. I also add the key so it's visible. As you can see, key pins are standard, chambers 1 and 4 are mastered. All chambers contain the assa barrel spools or assa barrels, and then all the finger pins are serrated, and there's no mastering on them. Here you have a detail of the key, which is a very nice bitting. This is the keyway. Maybe I will try to put it in here to make it more contrast. Not the best, not the worst. Still 15 thousandths SSD hook pays to help navigate this keyway without really getting caught in the wording. And here not much to be seen on the Bible. So that's all to the FAB variant. Thank you for watching and bye.